Hello, everybody. I'm John Bassler for Hypnotherapy Training International, and I've been asked about how can you rewrite the scripts that are in your mind that are often running our lives in ways that may not always be constructive. It's as if part of our mind is a bit beyond our control, and there's ideas in there that are unhealthy. And so how can we change those? And that's a serious, significant task. It's easily underestimated to be able to do that successfully and permanently, as opposed to a short-term fix, because people can go to a positive thinking seminar, essentially, and get all excited and positive, and that can be good at the time, and maybe give some good ideas for the longer term, but often those ideas don't last. They don't stay fixed in the mind because there's a lot of opposition sometimes in the mind. There's deeply embedded fixed ideas and scripts massively reinforced over years by authority figures, our parents, for example, our older siblings, our peer group, by society, and then by ourselves over the years as we continue to think and act in that way, which becomes self-reinforcing. And so those kinds of thoughts and feelings that are in the mind, they're in the synaptic connections and in the wiring of the brain. Think of how often maybe a child has had negative messages implanted in their mind if they've been abused or just exposed to a lot of negativity. So these ideas in the mind, they're not all that easily changed on a permanent basis. Freud found that. It's one of the reasons he gave up hypnosis. But of course, after his work with analysis, he found it was very time consuming. And based on his theories about the mind, he found it was often becoming very intellectual. And people needed to go deeper and quicker into the problems. And he recommended in 1917 that hypnosis again should be used. I recall very much a very well-known expert in the field of CBT saying that the human being is being so reinforced over time, maybe hundreds of thousands of times in particular ideas, that it's a miracle that we can change. And that's a testament to the human mind that we can undercut, if the therapy is effective, we can undercut these deeply embedded scripts and transform our minds and our direction in life. So we do have that power, but it must be strong enough, as in like one of Newton's laws of physics, an equal and opposite force must be applied against those deeper negative programs that have been there. Those programs may even have been very self-protective at some point, but are now very self-destructive, or maybe we're just self-destructive from the beginning. Now, we do have defense mechanisms that we acquire, which over time are reinforced, and they can be very restrictive and self-destructive. And these can be changed, but they must be changed appropriately. We can't just get rid of our defense mechanisms. That would lead to great psychic instability. And if the brain, the mind, the personality can be changed that readily, as some people claim in their, metaphysical seminars and so on, if they could be changed that quickly, we would be very unstable. So there are laws and rules about change for it to become effective. We have laws and rules in physics and metaphysics. And if you think in metaphysics, whether you believe in it or not, there is much to learn, much to overcome in ourselves to be able to influence things through the power of the mind, to influence matter and so on. So many people, when they learn a simplistic version of thinking positive and changing your environment, your outcomes, the positive thinking, it can be helpful. It's very unlikely often to do many of the things that are claimed for it. And we see the lack of results often in people's lives. And it can be dangerous because they're so positive and ignoring the evidence of what's around them and maybe the evidence of problems they're not dealing with, problems that are arising from not tackling things enough in a practical way, and the lack of effectiveness of their own programming. It's easy to become blinded to those things. And then we see easily in therapy, if you're a psychotherapist, if you've been in the work a long time in psychology, just giving people positive suggestions can make them worse because it can reinforce in their minds that they are not able to accept these ideas. They're so negative that positive suggestions actually bring up a negative response from the subconscious. So you see, there is an art and a science to programming, to do the programming well. And you learn in our courses in clinical hypnotherapy, and then on a much more advanced level, an advanced analytical hypnotherapy course, how subconscious communication works, the skills of language. There's many aspects of that, how to develop the very best suggestions that really do activate and direct the subconscious mind. This is not trivial learning. And we know when the subconscious is activated properly, and we've seen that many times in medical settings, not only with applying it in surgery and in many severe procedures that people have to face, where hypnotherapy can assist medicine or even sometimes replace the anesthetics and the chemicals where the person has problems with them. So very physical, real effects. And for people with a lot of anxiety and inner conflict, a great deal of powerful effects of hypnotherapy when it's done well. So in that stage of analytical hypnotherapy, we start to uncover what's in the mind. Because if we're talking about change and rewriting scripts, we need to know what the scripts are. And many people are only dimly aware of what's in their deeper part of their mind. In fact, they're often surprised when they are taken deeper into the mind in hypnotherapy over a few sessions, not years and years of therapy. They're often surprised about what comes up, but it can be quite different or substantially different in certain ways to what they had anticipated was the cause of their problems. The subconscious responded, reacted to different things over the years in ways they haven't really understood, because most people do not have much awareness of what's going on subconsciously. Now, as we help them get in touch with that material, add new perceptions and new perspectives, and re-educate the subconscious mind, they're on a real path of rewriting scripts, of steps to personal growth, of which there's quite a few. And we work then with the readiness for change, the motivation, the giving up of secondary gains and alibis, the learning to take the power and responsibility, teaching people self-hypnosis, how to set real goals to achieve them, how to deal with very long-term problems that may be there in their environment, how to really take action against those so that they really make a difference. The program is making a difference in practical, psychological, emotional ways in their lives. It doesn't take years and years of therapy. And just talking about it for many years will actually reduce awareness of where the problem is sometimes, because we're only talking about what may be down in the mind without going in there. And we're building up more theories and potentially more defenses and barriers against it, more misunderstandings, when we are not dealing directly with subconscious content and that wonderful subconscious power. So I hope you will take this idea of rewriting your scripts very seriously, the ones that are giving you problems. There are good scripts, not so good scripts in all of us. When you know how to work with scripts of the mind, how the mind works with that on a serious basis, you can do great things for yourself, for your life, and hopefully you may think about using it to help other people, because humanity really needs to understand and use its scripts, its script writing abilities properly. Otherwise, it simply projects things onto others, and that leads to so much conflict in life, in the world. Well, thank you very much for listening and watching, and please visit our website if you're interested in finding more at hypnotherapytraininginternational.com.